Hello, my name is Travis Esquivel. My partner Bianca Rivera and I are doing a presentation on autism and adaptations for teaching students with autism. So, what is autism? Autism or autism spectrum disorder refers to a broad range of conditions. These conditions are characterized by students with challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, speech and nonverbal communication, as well as by unique strengths and differences. We know that there is not one autism, but many types caused by a combination of genetic and environmental influences. Currently, one in every 88 child has been diagnosed with autism. Autism has affected students or male counterparts more so than females. One in every 54 males, 54th male has been diagnosed with autism. Again, not every child is the same, and this is also the same with children with autism. Every student is different, and this is truly the case when it comes to students with autism. Not every child is the same, and teachers, parents, aides, and schools need to understand and figure out what adaptations reach each student. Teachers need to be patient and find the student's interests. We compiled a list of different adaptations that we found to be effective. First, visual aids, different sensory exercises, allowing students to control his or her own education, small group instruction, role play, develop and use rules, so structure. And then on the bottom is a website for these different adaptations. Visual aids. Visual aids support are tools that are used to increase the understanding of language, environmental expectations, and help provide structure and support for individuals. This method is a great practice and adaptation to students with autism. This is not only a great tool for schools, but can be used at home with the student. So again, visual aids help students see and build knowledge on the words and language in front of them. This is an icebreaker that can help students feel more confident and comfortable in the classroom. This is something that doesn't just benefit students with autism, but benefits all students. This is just one adaptation that can help ensure the development of a student with autism.
Okay, so another one of the adaptations that we focused on was sensory exercises. This is kind of going into how the students with autism can react with different stimuli. This could be lighting, different peers around them, the temperature of the classroom. So, this is something that the teacher needs to be aware of when they're working with the children in general, and especially with autism, they are a little bit more sensitive to it. For the positive, teachers can allow time for students to move around the classroom, engage, take breaks, get their knees moving, different things like that. Even walking in a circle around the class. There was a couple examples in the different areas that I was looking up that even showed having a student know that he had a place in the back of the classroom where he could stand up if maybe he was getting a little bit antsy. So here's a link to some example activities that I thought were very interesting and that could be effective not only with autistic students, but maybe even students that have certain characteristics of needing to be a little bit more stimulated in the classroom. Another one was strength and control. So this was a big theme that came up in the articles that we were looking up, that too many times teachers focus on the weakness of the student, and the student will sometimes begin to realize this, and that becomes hard when you realize that someone's only looking at your negative attributes. So this was a way, this chart actually came from the Autism, the main website, and it talks about the strengths and challenges and looking at something, a characteristic that can be looked at as a strength or as a challenge. So one of the examples was maybe the student's really good at attention to detail. This can be a challenge because they lack being able to grasp the big picture. So sometimes they might focus on how some one little thing's wrong, and they're unable to get their mind off of that to understand the main concept of something. So it's this chart helps to kind of look at things from different perspectives, and it's not necessarily a bad thing as a teacher. It's going to happen sometimes where it's hard for you to see the positive, but looking at it in this way might help for you to draw back and realize, okay, so maybe he's not good at this, but what is he good at? And it helps to redirect different lessons. So this is just an example of it. This allows students to build confidence in themselves as well, and especially with autistic students, it's gotten better, but a lot of them, they realize that they're categorized as that and they lose confidence and they label themselves as just that. Whereas it can actually be a good thing to be to have autistic characteristics and be on the spectrum, because it does give you certain strengths. So small group instruction was a big thing that came up in many of the articles and videos that we watched, and even from our class videos that we watched. Autistic students do struggle with social skills, so they're unable to know, when you're having a conversation and that once you're done speaking, you could give someone else a chance to speak, they might struggle with that basic skill. So it's providing kind of them the arrangement that they might not be able to make themselves with having to work with students. So um, it puts them in a group and they have a task that they have to complete together. This might help if you give them in a couple slides, it'll show a little poster you can put up. Like first you listen, first you talk, then you listen, then you wait, and then you reply. So this is something that maybe for a lot of students, it's a very basic skill that they understand, but for autistic kids, they don't feel like that. They feel like they can talk whenever they want. And it's not necessarily to be rude, they just don't understand that concept of it. So it kind of helps so everyone can benefit from feeling like they're part of a team, and it makes them feel like they're contributing in a way that's helping their classmates. So this website link actually showed an article of different group work and also how to approach it. So a lot of times teachers just think, oh, okay, I need to put them into a group and it's going to help them. But it's a lot of guidance, a lot of explaining. So I'm going to put you in a group with 3 other people. I'm going to walk them through it so they feel a little bit more secure in what they're doing. So I like that link because it was not only showing examples of group work, but also how to approach it as a teacher. Role play is also something that was another adaptation that was um, very beneficial for autistic learners. So they might struggle with, again, the social interaction. So this is kind of the steps for role play, just like the group play. It's going to help them work with their classmates, but it's also going to help them to realize first they need to choose a situation and then they need to work together. Who's going to play which role? And it helps them. So in this picture, it's them pretending to be a doctor. So it might help them in a future experience where maybe they do see their doctor, and it's little things that will help out. And then maybe you do one where they're at the grocery store, so it helps them understand that basic level of conversation and being social and the language involved, the situations involved, what might occur, how to handle something that might occur, and it helps them eventually in their daily lives. So this is the slide I was referring to previously. This is examples of different posters that can be found online and just printed out and put up in the walls that really help develop the structure that autistic learners really crave. They like to be able to know why something's happening, why there's a certain reaction. If they're late, why do they get a late slip? Why do they have to go to the office? Why do they have to bring lunch? It's different things like that. So it's also a reminder. So even if this was put on their desk, follow directions, listen when others are speaking, work quietly and do not disturb others, show respect, keep hands and feet and objects to yourself. Also, the schedule is a big thing too. So if they're able to come in and see, okay, I'm only going to have to do reading for 45 minutes, then it helps them to see that okay, it gives them a goal to know that they need to get it done. Um, it helps the entire class, but especially autistic learners, because then they know that day what's kind of going to be happening, and maybe they really like music and they know that at 12:45 they get to do music, so it kind of helps them like carry through the day. I also included this video. It was a very interesting video to show how an actual teacher works with autistic students in the classroom. There are so many different videos, but I felt like this one was more personal, and we decided that it was a good way to wrap up kind of what we learned. Um, we wrote a lot about a lot of different adaptations, but this project really helped us to look through different articles and round out what the most popular ones were, and also realize that we might read an article about adaptations from last year to this year, and there was a lot of changes um, to the spectrum, like the whole spectrum of autistic learners. So you can tell that it's really being developed in the classrooms to make it a priority to work with these learners, and also to have a more positive approach. Kind of like one of the slides was talking about, not looking at it as a challenge, but more as a strength, and passing that on to learners and then to the parents and aides and teachers, so that it's not being something that's looked down upon. Thank you.